In 2021, I was cast as number 2 in Stranger Things and got to work not only with Millie Bobby Brown, but act alongside her in many of the season 4 flashback scenes.
You are weak and pathetic.
I will say I was very surprised with my experience working with Millie Bobby Brown. Bon Jovi. Her growing up as a child actor that had so much external success, fame, money from an early age, I expected her to be arrogant, maybe full of herself, and was actually surprised by how incredibly humble and kind she was, not only to me, but everyone else on set. Today I want to talk about the 3 surprising lessons I learned in acting, the industry, and life in general from Millie Bobby Brown Bon Jovi that you can take forward in your own acting career as well. First, the acting lessons. There was something Millie did on set that I had never seen before, and it was a little strange, but the more I thought about it, completely genius. We open up in the Hawkins lab where she is constantly running in and out of the rainbow room, trying to escape, but every door just leads right back into the rainbow room. The thing she would do before every single run into the room, warn everybody on the crew, specifically the sound guys, you're about to hear a violent scream right after you say action. It is not gonna be someone dying, it's going to just be me getting into the stakes of the scene. She would go in the corner, scream her head off, and then run right into the rainbow room and do the big emotional breakdown that we now see in the show. This taught me the vitally important lesson of always going the extra mile to put your body into the genuine stakes of the scene instead of trying to pretend like your body is tired. When I did the exact same thing many months later on the show FBI, I accidentally burst some eardrums in a very noobish way.
Now, I just went straight for the scream without warning the sound guys, so just always make sure to warn everybody before you do that, because otherwise you will make some potential enemies.
One acting technique that she used on set that you can use whenever you're on set, and I've used in any projects I've done afterwards, is asking for something called a series. A series is where you do the scene back to back to back without any cuts, without any notes, and just keep ramping up the intensity of the scene with each of the takes. And this is one of the main ways I was able to have a genuine emotional breakdown in my electrocution scene with Matthew Modine.
It was an accident.
I would not have been able to do if I hadn't asked for that series. That way you're not having to, from the first take, go all out and start at a 10. You can start at a 2, then build into a 5, then build into a 7, and then finally hit that 10 instead of just snapping your fingers and having an emotional breakdown. In almost all the scenes I had with Millie, she didn't really have any lines. In the bullying scene, all she said was, "I'm sorry." In the electrocution scene, she stepped forward and then stepped back. Obviously, she had a lot of lines in season 4. However, this reminds me of back in season 1 where she was mostly mute. I think a lot of actors think the size of their role is completely dependent on the number of lines that they have. Most of the time, good acting actually has nothing to do with the way you deliver a line. It has everything to do with the way you react to what has happened to you in the scene. The lessons I learned about maintaining a strong reputation in the industry, and something Millie did that is so small yet makes the world of difference in making everyone on set, in the crew, and in the cast feel special. Me and Millie were doing this back and forth telekinesis scene in this circle game where all of the numbers are competing to see who can push each other out of the circle the best with their psychic powers. Obviously, number 2 being the brute that he is, defeats all of the numbers until all that's left is him and puny, wimpy, pathetic 11. At least that's what he thinks. And we're going back and forth, we're scrunching our face. I am looking as stressed as possible. And when Millie goes and watches the playback, she just turns to me and says, "Oh, Tristan, they're gonna make constipation memes out of this scene. We're gonna be all over Twitter, and it's just gonna be us having a poop off." There were 2 fun things. One, she never took herself too seriously on set. It was always a light environment that made everyone feel like we're just here having fun while creating something we care about. And 2, She went out of her way to remember my name, and she did that with everybody, all of the other numbers, all of the crew members, a little thing that shows you care about them and you don't see yourself as above anybody. We're all on the equal playing field collaborating together. The life lessons that I learned from Millie, which in of itself is a little weird considering she is younger than me, but I'll get to that in a second because all of this culminated in the most important scene of my entire career that they never sent me the sides to.
Now, here's a story about how Millie saved my ass on set.
They give you something called an advanced call sheet that gives everyone an idea of what the next couple of days of filming are going to look like. And I saw 2 electrocution. And I had never seen any electrocution scenes, so I figured, oh, okay, they probably just didn't send it to me because it's like 1/4 of a page, very tiny. I probably don't have any lines, but I asked my second AD, AJ Bruno, yo, I don't know what this is. I'm sure it's very tiny, but can you just send it to me so I know what to expect? He agreed, yeah, it's probably 1/8 of a page, probably nothing. I'll send it to you tonight. As I was driving back to the hotel room, he calls me and says, you've not gotten this scene? This is like 4 pages of mostly you talking and having an emotional breakdown. Obviously, I have no time to really prepare it. I go home and I just purely focus on memorizing as much as I can and just think I have to just improvise and swing for the fences on Monday. Freaking out, I at least had gotten off book, but I still didn't have any idea how this was about to turn out. I used a lot of what I saw Millie use whenever she would do her high intensity scenes. And I wasn't afraid to ask the production, hey, I need a series when I first get electrocuted if you want me to actually have a full breakdown. And that's what I did. As you know, the electrocution scene went on to be the best scene of my entire career so far. It's what most people comment on when they talk about number 2 to me at my different meet and greets that I do. None of that would have been nearly as good as it was if I hadn't learned the tools that I would ultimately use from just watching Millie work. Because I would have been afraid to ask. In the past, I would be so afraid to vocalize what I wanted. But seeing her so fearlessly do that and not apologize for making sure that she had the space she needed, it emboldened me to ask for the same. But what if I told you I actually auditioned for a completely different role in season 4 that actually led to me being requested for number 2? So if you want to watch my audition for Eddie Munson and then how I would redo those scenes knowing everything I know now, go click that video right up there.